Hey, welcome to the fourth and final video of the CPCU 520 video series. Today we are going over a CPCU 520 practice exam. I'm going to give you a couple exam questions so you can approach and solve each question. And I'm Jake. This is presented by AssociatePI. We are an independent organization, independent of the CPCU and the institutes. I've passed my 520 exam and earned my CPCU designation, so I'm here to help you pass your exams. As I mentioned, this is video number 4, so if you want to check out the other videos, go over to AssociatePI.com/videos for all 4 videos of the 520 video series. Alright, so in this practice exam, we're going to go over 3 sample questions, 3 of the most common questions that you'll see on the exam. Example 1, it's going to be formatted as something that says, which of the following is true? So it'll give you a question and ask you which one is true. That's what we're going to do in example 1. That's something that you'll probably see in part A of the 520 exam on your from one of the concept questions. Example 2 is going to be a little more tricky. This is going to be a question formatted that says, this is an example of what? So it's probably going to give you a real life scenario or some type of definition or something and say, this is an example of what? So a common question format that you will see probably thrown throughout part A or part B, but it is also a common type of question that you will see. Example number 3 is going to be the most difficult one. This is from part B of the 520 exam. This is a sample scenario question. So these ones are really tough. It'll put you in it'll give you a real life scenario. You have to act as an insurance professional to choose the best answer. So these ones are tough. We'll get to that in number 3. All right, starting with question number 1, we'll get into the first sample question. And I'm not going to fully read everything, so feel free to pause the video, answer the question on your own, and then in the next slide we will get to the correct answer and the answer explanation so you can check yourself. So this first question is a sample concept question, very basic, very straightforward. It is asking, which of the following is true in regards to reinsurance? And it gives you a couple answers here. Very straightforward. This is how concept questions are often formatted. Just straightforward, what is reinsurance and which is true? So I'm going to go on to the correct answer now. And there's the correct answer. So you can see how this is a pretty straightforward question asking about reinsurance. Here's the explanation that smaller insurance companies need more reinsurance. Moving on to practice exam question number 2. This one is, as I mentioned, it's going to be formatted and says, this is an example of what? So you can see here, it gives you a real life scenario. It says, this is an example of what? So you have to analyze it and figure out what this question is talking about. So this question says, ABC Insurance, a property casualty insurance company, enters a quota share agreement with a private insurer. ABC Insurance charges a ceding commission and received an additional $150,000 commission because the book of business was profitable. This is an example of what? So this is something you might see in part B of your exam. It might also be in part A. But you can see this is kind of a real life scenario. You have to know what this is talking about. I'm going to go on to the answer now. And the answer is sidecar. Here's the explanation. I'm not going to read the full thing, but essentially, sidecar is a quota share agreement between the primary insurance company and the primary insurer and a private insurer or group of investors. So the insurer agrees to assume a portion of the primary insurer's risk in return for a portion of the profit. So this is exemplifying a sidecar. So a bit of a tricky question there. But this one, going on to question number 3 of the 520 practice exam, is by far the most tricky. This is a sample exam question, scenario-based question that you would see in part B of your exam. So this one requires a little bit of math and a lot of difficult concepts. So you have to understand a lot to answer this question correctly. All right, so let's get into it. So this says ABC Insurance Company is insured with an aggregate excess of loss reinsurance agreement with a $2 million attachment point. During the year, ABC incurred the following loss amounts per quarter. And it gives you 4 aggregate loss amounts per quarter. This is how much will ABC's reinsurance contract pay. So this is a tough one. You got to know what is a reinsurance contract, aggregate excess of loss reinsurance agreement. You have to know what is an attachment point. You have to look at all these numbers and figure out what is the reinsurance company going to pay. And just a hint, you are probably going to have a question like this on your exam. They're very tough, and it's pretty common on the exam. So let's get into how to solve this. So we break it up into 3 steps. Step 1, figure out what is an aggregate excess of loss reinsurance agreement. You're going to have to memorize all the different types of reinsurance agreements for this exam. This is one of them, so you have to know what that is. Step 2, calculate the total aggregate loss. So a little bit of math to figure out what the total loss amount is. And finally, step 3, a little bit more math, calculate the reinsurance payment. So let's get into it. So 1, here is what an aggregate excess of loss reinsurance agreement is. You have to know this, you have to be able to identify this and understand, because without knowing what this type of reinsurance agreement is, you won't be able to answer this question correctly. So here's the definition for the aggregate excess of loss reinsurance agreement. Now that we know what the agreement is, we can calculate it. So step 2, we know that it's based on the aggregate total incurred losses for the primary insurance company. So we add up all of the incurred losses for each quarter. So we know that adding up each quarter, we get to a total incurred aggregate loss amount of $2,500,000. Now, based on that, step number 3, we can then calculate how much the reinsurance company is going to pay. And this is a little tricky because you have to understand what an attachment point is. So here we can calculate, we know that the primary insurer incurred $2,500,000 of loss, but the attachment point is $2 million, excuse me. That means the primary insurance company is responsible for that $2 million. The reinsurance company will only pay what is in excess of that attachment point. So 2.5 million minus 2 million is 500,000. So the reinsurance company will pay $500,000 for this loss. So that's a good example of a scenario-based question from Part B of your 520 exam. You can see how difficult that is, how complex these questions are, and how multi-stepped they are. So you have to know how to solve these type of questions and prepare for these type of scenario-based questions. And that's it. I highly recommend you go download a free practice exam over at AssociatePI.com/practice exam. We give you more questions just like this, a lot of scenario questions and a lot of concept questions for you to practice and prepare for the type of questions that you are going to see. So head over to AssociatePI.com/practice exam if you have not already downloaded it, and get yours because that'll help a lot in your studying and preparing for the type of questions that you will see. And if you want to read more about the exam, head over to AssociatePI.com/CPCU520, where we break down more about the exam difficulty, some more sample exam questions and how to approach and solve them, and the exam format. And that wraps it up for our 4-part CPCU 520 video series. If you want to check out the other videos in this video series, go over to AssociatePI.com/videos. And that's it. Thanks for sticking with us through this 520 video series. We hope to see you on your next exam, and good luck with the 520. I am sure that you will pass.